Celtics and the Golden State Warriors in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Chef Curry starting to cook. He's hotter than fish grease.
This team in green and white hangs around.
Oh, so much Steph Curry. Wild comeback here for the Celtics. Horford for the lead. Boston up by 3.
Thing about the Celtics, there's not one guy you can point to that had a hand in winning this ball game.
The Celtics take Game 1 of the 2022 NBA Finals.
Welcome to NBA Today, presented by Hotels.com. We are inside Chase Center. I'm Malika Andrews, joined by Chiney Ogwumike, Richard Jefferson, and Kendrick Perkins. So, guys, I was watching a little bit of TV this morning, and it seemed like the narrative all over the place was, oh, my God, nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw the Celtics winning Game 1. And, Chiney, like, I'm sorry that we have to go through this, but that actually isn't even true. These two, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, they saw it coming. I'll let you guys puff out your chest for a second, but Rich, like, keep your shirt on, please.
Please, Lord.
I don't know what they want us to say.
Right is what you do. Correct is who you are.
We're not always correct, but there are certain instances where we understand a little bit, right? And like, there's the blank around and find out. And the Warriors, that ultimate team, they like to blank around sometimes, and then they like to find out what's going to happen. And in that moment, that's what happened. That ain't the Memphis Grizzlies over there. That is not the Denver Nuggets without two of their superstars.
All right.
That is not the Dallas Mavericks that upset the Suns with one main superstar.
Enough.
We can keep going down the line.
No. We're not going down the line. Enough of that. Let's get to the good stuff. Let's see how it got done. Let's go ahead to the fourth quarter. And Al Horford, in his media availability after the game, all he wanted to do was not talk about himself, but credit that man right there, Jaylen Brown, because he got this fourth quarter run started. Check the score. Down 12. Not anymore. 10. Jaylen Brown, once again, pulls up. Bang.
It looks so impressive for me when I watch this game. Now, right here, that's the play right there. That's the right there. He's knocked down 2 buckets, and then he decided to get his teammates involved. Then again, another assist right there. It's about when you get the assists. It's about when you get the buckets. And Jaylen Brown was the best player for 48 minutes last night, better than anyone else, in my opinion.
Let's talk about how he feels right at home in the Bay, former Cal grad.
Well,
now
Derek
you love Cal?
White was looking like he was feeling quite comfortable.
No.
Derek White, now Horford. Jaylen Brown got it started.
I think that was the biggest shot of the night right there.
They finished it.
That was a wrap for them at that point in time. Because watch this. Al Horford playing the defense, and this is when their defense got inspired. And this is one thing that they don't understand. People don't often give credit.
Trail in the play.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. and then there was another play where Looney did not get back on defense that led to a wide open shot.
Well, 6 made threes. You saw it. That's the most by any player in NBA history in a finals debut. Marcus Smart has the dagger, and just for good measure, one more from Marcus Smart just to put the cherry on top. That would do it. Steph Curry says, all right, live to fight another day. Un beso para todos from Al Horford. Here's Steve Kerr after the game.
See?
He speaks Spanish.
They had us on our heels. They made a good push, to start the fourth, and they kept that momentum going. We had a couple turnovers, a couple bad possessions offensively, and they just pounced. They took advantage of every opportunity.
We got a little rushed, and I don't think we were smart enough in some of those situations to try to find the right matchups and try to create the right shots.
This is what we rely on all year, our one-on-one defense, and guys really clamped in a little bit better, more physicality, more awareness on their shooters, taking up some space, and seemed like they seemed to wear them down a little bit.
Just a battle of will, and I think they won that in the fourth quarter. They got some great looks from 3. That kind of blew the lid open for them.
The guys kept finding me time after time. Also, Derek White, hit some tough shots there too. Yeah, it was just get the looks, knock them down, and that's that.
They hit 21 threes, and Marcus Smart, Al Horford, and Derek White combined for 15 of them. So those guys are good shooters, but 15 for 23 from those guys, so be fine.
I mean, what a fourth quarter it was for the Boston Celtics. There was so much that went into that, so many guys that stepped up. So, Richard, I'm going to start with you here. What was the biggest key to the Celtics' fourth quarter?
Well, look, I think Al Horford and his ability to kind of, just be a calming presence, right? And that's something that has been so, I don't want to say glossed over, but we forget that Al Horford is 800 years old. Like, this is not a guy in his prime. I know we've heard
it's his birthday today. We're going to do him like that?
Yes, 100%. That's how families do each other on birthdays. And so I love Al
36.
Horford, but people forget that he is well past his prime. He is closer to retirement than he is to anything else. And he has been so impressive going toe-to-toe with Giannis here in this series, being a difference maker, because it is so hard for bigs to play against the Warriors. And not only did he play, he dominated. 26 points?
Yeah.
26 points in the game. Like, you weren't getting this Al Horford when he was in Atlanta trying to get to the NBA Finals. So it's just so impressive what he did and how he did it for 48 minutes.
I'd have to agree. And a lot of times when you look at championship runs, you usually get role player games that are playing out of their mind. And that's exactly what you got from Al Horford and Derek White, potentially Marcus Smart consistently over the Eastern Conference, even in that final span. I think overall, the NBA is a make or miss league, and they made some shots in that fourth quarter. I mean, the point spread was, 40-16. They scored 40, held the Warriors to 16. They made 9 threes. When that happens, you put up 40 in the fourth.
You ain't losing.
You're going to be all right. You're
so
gonna be
making
just fine.
shots, it's make or miss, and when you're hitting.
It's a make or miss league, and they were taking some tough shots, meaning like the role players. Those are the guys you want to shoot in the fourth
knocked down
player.
a huge shot.
The
contested shot.
On Steph?
White was,
the pump
he was
fake.
hitting down when it mattered the most. I mean,
that one right there,
incredible.
Otto Porter fell asleep, though. I remember that play. I'm just like, they got to do a much better job of contesting these threes. They were somewhat contested, but not NBA Finals. I'm trying to win a championship-type contest.
But when you make shots on the road, Game 1 NBA Finals for a young squad, that is how you win.
That is less rested than the Golden State Warriors were. Perk, your biggest takeaway?
Well, you know what? I think Richard brought up a great point about Al. No, you really did, about Al Horford. Al Horford is who Draymond Green used to be for the Golden State Warriors, meaning the way that he was able to stretch the floor last night. Remember, the old Draymond, before they got Kevin Durant, we used to watch him knock down those wide-open shots from the three-point line and be able to have a 20 or 30-point night. Now he doesn't do that. We're watching Al Horford. Look, when Al Horford and those guys start to make shots, guess what? It opened up the driving gaps and give the isolation plays to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
But look, my biggest takeaway was the word trust by Ime Udoka. Peyton Pritchard played 8 minutes in that fourth quarter. The way he stuck with his bench and the way that he believed in his bench, Derek White and those guys, when he believed in those guys and left them out there on the floor, it spoke volumes not only to Ime Udoka but to the team. Because when Jason Tatum came back in, he wasn't trying to play hero ball, let me take you home. He became a role player at that point. So the word trust and Ime Udoka and that Al Horford is playing like Draymond Green used to play.
Well, it seemed like the for the Golden State Warriors was when Steph was going nuclear in the first quarter, the Celtics were still in the game. At halftime, when it seemed like the Warriors were playing their hearts out, the Celtics were up by 2. So let's take a look at the first quarter. Steph Curry, because he was who kept them in this game. This is game 1. He had to go in early, remember, Richard.
Yeah.
He missed his first three-point attempt, but he gets another one.
And look, there was a lot of mistakes here. Now,
Buries it.
Yeah, so he knocks down threes. And when I say mistakes, Steph can make it if you do it right. But if you do it wrong, this is a mistake.
Should never happen.
That should never happen. I get it. There's some communication. But even here, yeah, I get it. But look, you can't go underneath on Steph. That's another mistake. And Ime called a timeout. He thought that there was going to be a switch. He goes underneath. There is no switch. That's not good enough defense. But it takes you time to understand where you're playing good defense. Those threes, those are not acceptable, obviously. I think everyone knows that. And so part of playing against the Warriors is figuring out how to guard them. And what is it like this? If I contest Steph, that's a livable shot right there. That's a livable shot. The other 5 aren't livable. So let's get more to our livable contest.
Well,
that is something you can live with.
Oh, that move right
was
there,
a record for any quarter in the finals.
Look at that. You reach, I teach.
Yeah.
And then he sort of had fun with the floater. He could have just thrown it in, but he was like, underhand this.
And that's fine. You want Steph shooting those shots. Like if you're the Boston Celtics, you'll live with Steph shooting 22s, though, like right there, good contest, ball movement. That's what you want. Now you can start to see, look, they're closer. That was a great screen by Draymond. But
Where did Marcus Smart come from?
Yeah, because they realized how many threes he had. But this is where you got to make that rotation. You got to make that rotation and get that ball to Clay at the end.
Well, and it looked like maybe he was working with his ankle a little bit there. He might have tweaked it just a tad. Obviously, he was in the game. Not too concerning, but we did see that. Important to take a look there. But Steph, I mean, he started out hot. We said it. 6 made threes in the first, on his way to 21 points in the period, but he scored 13 more points the rest of the way, 5 for 16 overall shooting, right? So his 7 3-pointers tied for his second most in a finals game in his career. That is a lot, but he's going to need a little bit of help, right, if he's going to get this done. 21 points in the first, 13 the rest of the way. Who needs to step up, Chene?
You know, I would say all of the Warriors overall. I mean, we had moments where people had flashes that you're like, all right, they're competing. Kevon Looney, the defensive presence he had at times, especially in the second, was awesome. I believe his parents also had an anniversary, and I saw them walking. I was like, happy anniversary was nice. They're happy. You know, those cute finals moments. But you look overall, I mean, their entire squad defensively, when someone is hot, like you see a Derek White or an Al Horford, you have to find a way to, you know, put the extinguisher on them. And they weren't able to because guess what? You have two superstars in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum that you're still focused on, even if they're not being so productive down the stretch. So I would put the onus on all the Warriors to really come out with a better game plan, meaning defensively finding the guys when they're really killing them, knocking down shots.
Well, Andrew Wiggins had 20 points. So him and Steph combined for exactly half of the Warriors' 108 points together. Otto Porter was doing a little bit, getting it going. But Richard, who do you need to see step up?
Well, I like what Chene said as everybody, but to me, there's a level of consistency that their team has to play with. And we talked about if we can get 18 to 22, if you're the Boston Celtics, if we can get this, you know, if we can get 16 from Al Horford, you understand those. But for the Golden State Warriors, they need a more collective, sustained effort, and that is everybody. Steph got you going. Okay. You know guys are going to hit shots. Okay. But can you defend for 48 minutes? And that is not something that we have seen overly consistent from that team. We know the Boston Celtics team will defend for 48 minutes. We just worry about whether or not they could score enough points to compete.
Yeah, but I mean, we still not pointing out individuals, and I think you need an individual.
Say everybody.
Nah, that's easier to say. That's a cop-out. And I think a lot of people will say Jordan Poole. I just think this is not the series for Jordan Poole, just for the simple fact they have too many perimeter defenders, the Celtics do. I'm going back to Draymond Green. Al Horford is doing what Draymond Green needs to do for the Warriors. He's wide open. They're leaving them open. They're denying the wings now. That's the recipe that they were doing in the second quarter, and that's what they did in the fourth quarter. And he's hesitant to take those shots. He has to take those shots. He has to be aggressive. He has to make those shots. It has to be if Draymond Green could be the Draymond of old. If Draymond Green can't be the Draymond of old, the Warriors do not have a chance at winning this series.
Well, the championships that the Warriors have won, they've really forced you to play small ball. And I think the one area of kryptonite is if you have great center production, whether it is Al Horford, Robert Williams III. Like, if the Celtics are able to get that type of production, it doesn't have to be 26 points, but 20, 15 consistently. That's what forces Draymond Green to really have that comparison of, like, you need to have a bigger night facilitating on offense and slowing them down. And I think the Celtics won that matchup.
Well, and I think they know that they need a little bit more offensive production from Klay Thompson. You mentioned Jordan Poole. He needs space. That's the thing. Jordan Poole needs space to get into a shot, and they weren't giving him that. Sometimes it takes him.
They're not going to give him.
So that means you got to rely on the OGs. That's when Klay Thompson needs to step up. That's when Draymond needs to step up. But here's the thing about the Warriors. They know. They know better than any one of us can tell them. They're sitting in there right now like,
they know how good the Celtics defense is.
They know how good the Celtics defense is, and they're going to try to give it their all in Game 2 and go back to Boston Tide. All right, still ahead, though, on NBA Today. We'll discuss the Jays' Game 1 performance. Our crew grades Jays